Hello everybody and welcome back to the Overlap Breakdown channel. Today I am here to cover if England can really stop Erling Haaland in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Obviously, Erling Haaland has scored in every single game that he's played for Norway at this World Cup, and he has more goals for Norway than he does games. So we're here to talk about whether or not this is actually a possibility for England to stop Erling Haaland. What's the potential? What can we do off the ball? What can we do individually, personnel-wise, to really get a grips of him? And just before we jump into the piece, massive thank you to everyone who's liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. The past 2 months have been two of the biggest in our history over here. So if you aren't subscribed, please do not forget to subscribe. Enjoy the pieces. Let us know what you make of all our pieces in the comments, and don't forget to give us a like. So we are going to move on right now and talk about what England have done, what Norway have done. And just before I get into it, I want to talk about what managers and players have said about Erling Haaland, the ones who's had success against him, the ones who obviously played against him numerous amount of times and understand what kind of player he is. I'm not going to give you the general rundown on, Haaland's qualities, weaknesses, because we all know that what his qualities are. So Mikel Arteta has also said he's a player who doesn't need much space. Sometimes preventing the source is the best thing to do, and this is a running trend. Preventing the source and the balls into Haaland seems to be what a lot of top managers and players are actually referring to, because they don't want to make it a battle between Haaland and Konsa or Haaland and one other defender. They want to make it a team v team game, which is obviously what it is. Pep Guardiola said the best way to stop Erling Haaland is to have 70 or 80% of the ball, so he's not involved in the game as much as possible. Bruno Guimaraes actually said before they got knocked out by Norway for Brazil, we have to avoid the ball getting to his feet. We do have to attack, but we've also got to make sure that someone stays on him at all times, because with one ball, he can decide the match. So what are Norway doing that makes Haaland score more goals than he has appearances for his country? And that is basically setting up in a 4-3-3, as you can see it on the left-hand side on the red team. And what they're doing mostly is using these triangles of the fullback, the winger, and the centre midfielder. And what that means is when they push up into the final third, they're getting a lot of these wide overloads. And all of Haaland's chances, all of his goals that are coming from, all of them are getting worked down the sides of the shape. So they are using rotation to take advantage of two players playing on that side. So if I show you what it looks like for England, if you can imagine, when England defending a 4-4-2 like this, and the wingers drop down the outsides, if you can imagine that these are two players and they're trying to play 2v2 against a fullback and a winger of Norway, what actually happens is they make it a 3v3 with the wide centre midfielder actually coming completely out to the touchline to rotate. And that takes away someone from the midfield, opens up space for our Haaland to hang in these areas here. But it also gets the ball pushed down the line quite a lot for Norway. And they have a lot of success with this. I'm going to show you all of Haaland's goals that he's scored at the World Cup. Well, not all of them, but most of them. And I'm going to talk to you about the running themes that appear in his runs off the ball, ironically, the runs that he makes when his other players are on the ball. If the ball's out wide left and they're cutting it on the right-hand side, what is his reaction to that? How does he react to different players? Does he react to Nusa, Sheldrup, Wolf, Erdegaard, different to how he reacts to other players? So I'm going to show you some examples on the screen right now, and I want to show you his back post runs. So this is more to the point of, we've seen Haaland score this goal numerous amounts of times. And on your screen right now, we can see what we were talking about just then. On the left, there is a lot of wide overloads for Norway. So they've got 3 or 4 players condensed onto Brazil's right-hand side, and they are looking to work the ball in behind the defence to get across the box. So when they do that, we can see Oscar Bob actually puts a little stabbed pass through to Christophe Ayer. And then when the ball is actually played back across the box in a Trivela, if we look across the back line for where Haaland's movement comes, he's hanging on the very back side of the last defender. And this is a run that you'll see Haaland make a lot, not just for Norway, but for Manchester City. So if you can imagine, we bring it inside, Oscar Bob threads it through to a player who pushes in behind like this, and Haaland's waiting in the blind side. And this is something where if Haaland can take you deep into the box like this, the possibilities he can produce from here are endless. What he can do is he can attack the back post directly like that, but then he can also hang and wait for the ball on the cutback like that. And it all depends on the type of ball and the type of player on the ball that is there for him, because the service usually tends to be different. If it's Andre Sheldrup, he'll come inside on his right foot and look for more lofted crosses. If it's a direct run in behind the block like this and they're looking to hit the line, it's a smash across, which means he's probably going to favour more back post launches like this. So what are the cues? How can England predict Haaland's runs? Well, after watching every single shot he's had at the World Cup, we can see very, very different tendencies to who's on the ball. So right now, I want to talk to you again about that back post launch. So we mentioned then that when the ball comes down this narrow point of the box and he hits the byline like that, we are expecting Haaland to run through and carry on running to the back post to arrive there. So we can see that example right here against Iraq. Norway are on a little bit more of a transition. Antonio Nusa holds the ball up and waits for the left back to come around the outside. He uses that run of the left back and Wolf smashes it across the box. And what have we got again? Haaland hanging in behind the last defender like this on the blind side. And this time he actually scores from launching himself across the box. So I want to talk to you more or less about Haaland's reactions to when his wingers have got the ball. And most importantly on that left side. I've shown you a few examples already, but I want to show you two, one against Senegal and one against Brazil. And the first one is the one against Brazil, where he has that first step across Gabriel when Sheldrup comes inside on his right foot. And Erling Haaland's reaction to Sheldrup when he's on the ball and he comes inside like that is very unique, but it's also very distinct because it means we can pick up a lot of detail on it. And that is from waiting in the blind side like this. He likes to use his first step and get across him. So he waits in the blind side, the defender's too ball focused, and when the ball comes in, he can almost crash and make that duel his. We can see that for the goal he scored against Brazil with the header on Gabriel, but we can also see it for the chance he actually almost converted against Senegal. So again, right here, Andre Sheldrup comes inside on that right foot. Look at Erling Haaland's positioning. He's off the right shoulder of that left centre half for Senegal. When he's waiting in there, there's no scanning. They forget he's there. And then it's one swift movement with one large gated step across the defender to crash into the box, making a bit more of that diagonal angle like this, coming inside, attacking the space. It's a more favourable finish on his left foot. So for me, they are pretty unique and pretty distinct responses to certain actions coming from the wingers. And if England have got anything about them, especially the centre-halves, they will study and realise that they need to get tight and they need to not let him get goal side. Already what I'm thinking about with England is if they're using these overloads on the wide side, if they're using these deep runs from fullbacks, if they are trying to get 2v1, 3v1 down the outside, straight away the number one thing I would suggest for England to do is to play with Saka and Gordon. I'll throw a screenshot up on your screen right now, which is showing their, structure against Mexico off the ball, which is more of a 6 at the back with Saka and Gordon playing incredibly deep to manage the wide players for Mexico. When the fullbacks got really, really advanced down the wide sides and they pushed on, Saka, Gordon's reaction to that was to sit in a lot deeper. And if England can prevent the source, as we said before from all the managers talking about Erling Haaland, if we can prevent the source by dropping the wingers and going 1v1 and actually managing them overloads, then these crosses won't be able to come into England's box. So I've got another example again to show you, and this is more talking about his near post runs. So we've already talked about what happens when a Norway player takes the ball deep into the line like this and looking for a direct cutback. Now what we're going to look at is when Antonio Nusa and Sheldrup look to come inside on the right foot like that and they look to put these whipped balls in. These are more individualistic, assessments of players, because what we're looking for is Concert, Gay, Stones, whoever plays Nico O'Reilly, they will have massive responsibility. Pretty much all of Haaland's chances that he's converted or he's had a shot from off Norway all come from that left-hand side, with Sheldrup, Oscar Bob sometimes rotating out there, Antonio Nusa, Wolf, the fullback, and Patrick Berg. Andre Sheldrup's actually created the most chances for Haaland at the World Cup with 3, and they've all come from these similar inside runs like this off the flank. So on your screen right now, we can see that same thing. Antonio Nusa is on the ball, he squares up his fullback 1v1, and we can see the run from the fullback now comes deeper. He turns that run down, he doesn't decide to play the slip ball, and he decides to play a lofted cross into the box. Look at Haaland's reaction to this. He's hanging again in the blind side of Gabriel on the back post like this. And what happens is when he cuts inside with the ball to bring it on his right foot and to loft the ball into the air, he then attacks it with one step and goes in front of him like that and shifts and rotates, and the ball can come in there. What we're saying to the defenders is the reaction of Haaland in the box when the defenders are out wide or when they're trying to attack 1v1 down the sides is never let Haaland get behind you. Always stay goal side of him, always stay behind him, because his unique selling point and the reason why he's scoring so many goals is his first step, his ability to step across that defender. We've seen it for the goal he scored on Gabriel. Gabriel's too passive, he hangs too late. And when Haaland's creeping into the box and you're too ball focused of where the source is coming from, you let Haaland drift off into the blind side and you forget he's there. And then he has now won that battle because he can get that first step across, arrive in front and win that header. That's what you cannot allow Haaland to have. You can't allow Haaland to lead the duel off the ball. Don't let him get behind you. Don't let him step across you. Don't let him use his pace, his first step. And the way you prevent this is by simply looking at the different types of runs he makes in reaction to whoever's on the ball. And we've already talked about when it's hitting the line, he likes to attack the back post. There's not really any, cutbacks or fallbacks here. But when the player comes inside on his right foot from the inside left like that and comes in like that, he's often looking for them back post, them lofted balls into the back post like that. And if the ball is cut short, then he can make that inside dart ahead of the defender to win the tap-in. So again, right now, I've got the same example, but this time it's off the right-hand side. Now, Sørloth plays right wing for Norway, which is most of the reason why Norway's chances all come down the left for Haaland, because he is a wide target man. But oftentimes, in the final third, he ends up joining Haaland deep in the box like that and occupying a defender, because he is a massive striker, 6'4", 6'5" striker. So now, when the ball is on the right-hand side, as you can see here, the same thing happens. This time, it's a ball from Ødegaard. So he's rotated out wide. Again, we can see that same thing what we were saying before. They've got 3 players hugging the line of the opposition. They're trying to get more space. They're trying to free up a man. It comes into Ødegaard, and Haaland's again looking for that backtracked run. He's looking to step away and get on the blind side of the defender. The difference is here is Alexander Sørloth is also doing that exact same run. He's also occupying the exact same space. So when the ball comes in, Haaland likes to lean back into the blindside defender and then make a diagonal run straight across the face of the goal. And this is what's freeing him up. So when we're talking about his runs, his reactions, England players need to be aware of them reactions and what they are. So when the ball comes deep in from the cut inside right foot left channel, he's going to come back post and then look to step across. If the ball is hit down the line and he's coming more narrow and they're hitting the byline like that, he's going to attack the back post. What I would say is it might be risky, but I would stay extremely, extremely close to him in all duels. Ezri Konsa, when they beat Manchester City 1-0 at Villa Park, spent an average of 2.06 metres away from him in the entire game. So, and them sort of players know what it's like to play against Erling Haaland. Ezri Konsa has only conceded 1 in 5 against Erling Haaland. I think Dan Burns conceded 1 in 9 against him. John Stones has obviously played with him for numerous amount of years. You'll know him well. He's not got as great of a record with 7 in 7 conceded against him. But I would say start Bukayo Saka and Anthony Gordon to, track them wide overloads from the players and to always retreat, and don't let them get 3v2 on the wide sides, because that's where all the chances come from, especially on the right. And then I'd also say don't go passive against him. Be quite aggressive with him, be quite firm. If they're going to vacate the centre like this, and they're going to push 3 players out here to overload the centre, then there will be no one lingering on outside the box. So what if we can drop Declan Rice in, or give Elliot Anderson a bit more of a defensive role on him to go 2v1 with Konsa? Maybe keep him closer to Ezri Konsa for the second balls, because Norway like to go direct quite a lot from the goal kicks, and what Haaland gives them is an out ball. They don't really tend to use a short distribution, and we mustn't forget, for all the goals he's scoring, he's a magnet to the ball when it's hung up in the air. So when the keeper likes to go long, I want to see Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson really close to the back line, because sometimes when there's pressure on Haaland's back, there's a loose touch, and them loose touches need to be resulted in an England possession 1. With Haaland here, and then Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice standing just in front for them loose touches when Ezri Konsa goes into his back to force the turnover, and then England can go. And the final thing I will say for England is to hold the ball a lot. We've talked about them going aggressive. I want them to go man-to-man. I want them to go full-court press. We're really yet to see it from England, but I think this is the game to do it. I would go full-court press. I would win the ball back and hold it for as long as you can. And be quite boring with the possession. Take the sting out of the game. Give England 60, 70% of the ball throughout the game. Limit the amount of service Norway actually have, the amount of touches they have. Because against Brazil, they dictated the large portion of that game. And because they were able to do that, they were able to work them wide overloads. They were able to sink Brazil deeper and cross the ball in the box for Haaland to score. So, yeah, I would say start Bukayo Saka, Anthony Gordon. Keep it really, really tight in the midfield for long balls. Drop Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson around him so he can get more of a 2v1. And hold a lot of the ball and press high. And don't be scared to go man-to-man with him, because Ezri Konsa's got experience in doing it for Aston Villa. And I think we've seen success with that in the past. So I think England definitely can stop Erling Haaland on Saturday night, and I hope so. So if you did enjoy, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the Overlap Breakdown channel, and we will see you next week for more analysis. Thank you.
This has been a Global and The Overlap production.